we'll have to see how far he's come over the past couple of months.
Alright, so we're getting another turny one here. And Ethiixx telling Ultra to not hurt him too much. We know who Ultra is, and he is a very solid player, so there's certainly gonna be a challenge for Ethiixx. Getting that yellow armor and trying to land some damage with that ion cannon, but not able to dodge those rockets as Ultra bringing the first frag to the table.
And he's going to be taking a position here on red armor. It's 8 seconds before it's going to show up, though, and he doesn't really have an obvious place to go in the meantime. So that's going to allow Ultra to come in and sort of punish him for sticking around there for so long. So Ethiixx back down on the bottom now, looking for that Mega. It's not going to be up for quite some time, though, so he's got to get out of Ultra's way as they get stuck back on the jump pad, giving Ultra frag number 3 within the first minute.
Yeah, this is a very solid start for Ultra. Kind of what we might be expecting from him. And quickly finding his opponent, but not connecting with those rockets. That's a fight where you can see the new splash damage. I mean,
yeah.
You'd kind of expect to do more damage with those kind of shots, but he was basically just getting ticked down by that LG of his opponent instead.
He was really trying to get that jump on the red armor there, but it's going to be going over to Ultra instead. Very quick rocket jump to take away the control of the yellow armor as well, but a little bit of back rage as Ultra eats a little bit of plasma, but man, taking away one direct rocket, he should be getting this one as well as Ethiixx takes a few bad spawns.
Yeah, this is looking quite strong for Ultra. He's just getting into the flow right now. Ignore that rocket jump, that's not part of the flow.
I mean, this is somewhat similar to Airwalk in that, you know, you're going to be getting some bad spawns and you're just going to be left in that middle atrium without anywhere to go for a while, but eventually you're going to get a spawn that should give you, you know, a decent armor to play with. Usually in this map it's the yellow armor. In original Airwalk it's, you know, right on top of the red.
Yeah, that's always a hard spot.
But in practice, I've found that as a fresh spawn, it's actually a little bit difficult to hold down the yellow armor room. You have that little bit of a plateau on the yellow itself. That gives you something to work with if you have the splash damage weapon, but unless you've gone downstairs for the rocket launcher already, can't assume that you'll have that.
Yeah, and if your opponent knows what he's doing, he's probably gonna open the fight with a bolt and then just push in with the ion cannon, and there's not much you can do against that other than just play more passive angle and spam rockets, and you're gonna need those rockets, right? Oh wow, 4 frags in a row. I like how this metal thing on the THC comp pod shows how many frags it had in the excellent.
Nice. I need to pick that up myself.
I'm not sure if it's in public distribution yet. I think you can get it by asking the guys who made it, which are of course THS and hold on, I can't remember the name of the programmer who did all the Lua scripting. But yeah, and the Reflex FPS forums, you have a thread for it.
I'm happy to see that Lua scripting in there. I mean,
it is very nice.
You're talking to an audience who's sort of used to being able to define those sort of things and figure out what works well for the community.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some extensive HUD stuff that you can do in some earlier Quakes. Quake Live had its own HUD system that was alright, but this is just the next level.
Nice shots coming out of Ultra here already, and another pop out from Ethiixx gives him frag number 2, 22 rather. As we have 4 minutes knocked off, and yeah, we're still getting these pop and locks out of Ultra. Looks like he's warming up just fine so far. And another spawn on the red armor. You know, at that point, you should be able to look at the spawn timers and go, okay, it's not going to be up for X amount of time. Maybe I just need to get the hell out of here. Or even as a fresh spawn, if it's about to come up, maybe I don't want to be in that fight.
Yeah, it's certainly not an easy position for Ethiixx as he goes down to lava here, getting himself in the negatives. Apparently it was Qualix who did the HUD programming. Awesome. And apparently it is public right now as well. Okay, that's good to hear. I'm having some old version, so ignore that. That could be why I'm having the problems. It's no deal breaker. All fine, all good.
Yeah, it looks like there's a layer here that maybe Ethiixx just isn't quite picking up on. Once your opponent is at the point where he's able to rocket jump from one area to another, that kind of opens the door for you to be able to punish that stuff. I mean, yes, he's going to be a threat because he's able to move across the map so fast, but at the same time, that movement makes him more vulnerable to things like, you know, air rails and air rocks.
Yeah, I gotta be able to just find the situation for those and land them. And look at that. Good rocket from Ethiixx coming in, but it's gonna be Ultra who's landing that last bolt to save his own life there. Could have been a first frag for Ethiixx.
He's able to take away a red armor at the very least, but he's eaten one bolt already. He's going to be taking that jump pad back over towards the yellow armor, and as you can see, that jump pad, if your opponent's right in front of you, doesn't give you a clearer or faster path to the yellow, so you have to pretty much take it and then exit up over the top.
Oh, actually very nice plasma use there by Ethiixx. Trying to defend himself, but he's going to go down to his own end on an unfortunate spawn. Do you know if they actually remove the bias spawns from the game?
I don't.
Because I think I read about something that they switched back to completely random spawns again. They had like bias spawns that is favored places further away from your dying spot, but it could be completely random now. It's not like Quake Live where you absolutely made sure you can't get the spawns close to your
right,
enemy, but just bias to the randomization.
Which I suppose makes some amount of sense if the item times are known to that extent.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, look at that LG and finally the rocket.
It does mean that the tone of the game shifts a little bit more from something like you would expect in CPM or Quake 3 and a little bit more like Quake World or Quake 2, where you kind of acknowledge that, okay, I'm going to die a few times, but I'm going to eventually get a spawn that is kind of in my favor, allows me to get a few things, and I need to really work with it well. And at that point, the pressure is really on you to take what you've got and turn it into a bit of a turnaround.
Yeah, but that's always an interesting thing in those games. Sometimes you just happen to have a bad luck with spawns, but that happens with all the games, so I don't think that's too good of an argument against it. I mean, sometimes you get those situations where you have the control, lose a frag in a bad fight, or after an opponent gets good to spawn, and then lose like 6 frags in a row, then work your way back up, get 1 frag again, and then your opponent is just not getting those same bad spawns. And
right.
You don't get the same bad spawn frags, but that's just life.
It's a good summary of the philosophy, yeah. Alright, but final couple minutes here. We're looking at 31 on -2. Ultra looking very solid here so far. Once again, we're taking a look at some of these higher seeded players on THC1, and we're going to be seeing them clash head-to-head after the group stages. So we're just getting launched off here.
Yeah, it's got to be interesting to see this high-level player play against each other. Just getting this seeding first here in these groups. Oh wow,
nice.
Pushed into the lava. -3 for Ethiixx now. I don't think I've seen like these kind of early tournament games before in this map. I didn't know it can escalate like this. I had no idea.
On a map like this, I could totally see it.
I can understand it happening, but I just hadn't seen it in practice before.
The jump pad was just beautiful.
It was.
But it's something I've always appreciated about, you know, Duel design in Quake, is that you can have these maps which can be really, really punishing if you're out of control, and if you can't keep up with your opponent, then it's going to be a little bit of a train wreck. However, there are maps that allow you to kind of breathe a little bit more, set up some ambushes, etc. So at some point, I would, you know, there was that idea in Quake 3 in the single-player bot campaign where they kind of introduced you to duel maps by having really, really, really bad duel maps like the Power Station or some shit like that. But I'm almost in favor of kind of reintroducing the idea of, okay, this is a beginner duel map and this one's a little bit more on an advanced level.
Yeah, it is a good idea to have like more simple maps to understand the basics. Kind of like you see people talk about E1, M2 in Quake World as kind of a beginner TDM map, even though it is a very solid TDM map for even advanced players, but it's got the basics a bit more simplified when compared to something like DM3. But I think it's a good idea to have maps kind of like those.
Yeah, it's something I harp on a bit in Quake 2, and it has been a while since I've run a Quake 2 event. I really need to get back into that because it just is a fantastic game. But
you should.
The
I'm gonna watch
maps
those.
made by ZTN that don't really have teleporters in them. They're sort of bifurcated. There's 2 main atriums and with really clear relationships between them, and I tend to think that those are pretty easy for new players to get into and start to understand.
Right.
But hey, I gotta give it to Ethiixx. He's brought himself back up from all those lava deaths. He's actually gotten a frag on the board.
Yeah, he's back to back. That's actually pretty nice, getting himself out of the negatives in the end.
Yeah.
So that's a positive experience, literally. And yeah, that's gonna be one